Think about back in the day when you had to actually like pick up the phone and call a girl or like ask her when she was going to be home. And
when can I pick you up?
Maybe leave a message with her mama and then like she's got to check you out, make sure you all right. That took major courage. It takes no courage to send a text. And then people will like divulge all this information over text that they would never say if they were face to face with somebody. And that's okay. You can share whatever you want, but it develops a false sense of intimacy. So then people are thinking, oh, I'm in an exclusive relationship because I told this person all this stuff about me. But they haven't really developed a relationship. Or somebody will tell me, what about all those catfish scenarios? What about like all those people that take advantage and steal money from people that they met online? They are catfish because they haven't met them. They haven't even done video chats. That's why they were able to
seen them.
Fake who they were. That's not a real relationship.
That's not a real relationship. That's not a real relationship. That's not a real relationship. That's not a real relationship. That's not a real relationship. That's not a real relationship. That's not a real relationship. That's not a real relationship. That's not a real relationship. That's not a real relationship.
Welcome to Wow Black, a seriously opinionated podcast bringing you the real and raw on anything happening while Black. If Black culture's there, we're there. If you're pissed or empowered, then let's talk about it. Ride with us on this all Black everything.
All right, welcome back, Wow Black family. Today, and I'm going to jump off really quick into telling you about today. Vince is going to join us just a little bit later. But today's episode is going to share some really valuable insight, especially for folks who are single, dating, or got a few side pieces, or looking to get a side piece. Now, I'm joking about the side piece. Well, maybe not really, but we'll see. We'll see. Today's masterful expertise is going to show us the game and how it really works and how to maximize your opportunities using tools on online dating apps. And our guest today is Damona Hoffman. And Damona is a certified dating coach, radio host, and TV personality. She has starred in the TV series #Black Love and A Question of Love. She hosts the Date with Mates radio show and podcast.
Dates and Mates.
Dates and Mates. That's it. Dates and Mates podcast. And she is a love expert for BET.com. She has made
all true things. And the Drew Barrymore Show and the LA Times and the Washington Post. I've been busy.
I love it. I love the flex. Like we love it when our guests come on and flex. That's exactly what we want you to do. Yes. She's made hundreds of appearances too on NBC, Fox, Animal Planet, Sirius XM, Women's Day Magazine, Essence Magazine, People Magazine, and the list goes on and on. That's how good she is at what she does. Literally the dating expert of our generation. Let's welcome Damona to Wow Black.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now, if you want to tell our listeners just a little bit more about you, feel free.
Well, I think it's important for everybody to know that I started out, like anyone that heard you say dating apps and just like, you know, their eggs or their loins shriveled up inside of them. And they were like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't like that. Just know I was right there. And I was really frustrated with the dating scene in LA. And a friend of mine suggested I try online dating. It wasn't even dating apps back then. And that's how I ended up meeting my husband. So I know that it works. And I was literally a love cynic and I did not believe in it. And I felt like, man, if online dating could turn me around, it could help other people. And it was actually at that point that people came to me and they were like, well, I tried online dating, it didn't work, or there aren't any good men or women online. And I started writing dating profiles. This was actually 15 years ago, so way before it was cool. But I started writing dating profiles and some people doubted. But all that time, people would come back to me and say, I met someone, I'm getting married, I'm having a baby. And eventually I left my full-time job to not only just write dating profiles, but also coach people through the entire dating process. So I've been doing this for a minute.
You've been in the game for a minute. Wow.
Yeah.
That is, that's why you're an expert. That's why you know what you're doing in this game. You know it. You got it.
I know. I was like, that resume you read, I was like, damn, that's a lot of work. I've been working for a long time.
Yes.
But, you know, I've seen all of the evolutions and it's really changed. Like sometimes people are like, how do you know? How do you know all this stuff if you've been married now my husband and I have been together for 17 years, but I've been married for 13. But I've been coaching people this whole time. So I was right there at the beginning of Tinder. I actually reported about it on my Dates and Mates podcast and was like, there's this new thing called Tinder. And that completely changed the dating game. And even Facebook changed the dating game and the way that we communicate. Text becoming the primary mode of communication, that changed the dating game. So I'm always staying on top of the new research and tools and technology so that all my clients know how to navigate this and can be successful at love as well.
That's what's up. So you got all the tips. You know how to make this thing work.
Every tip, I have them.
See, that's it. That's it. Well, you know what? We're going to move right into our wild black shit section. And basically, 3 questions. 2 to get you warmed up. And the third one is our signature question.
Okay.
You ready?
No, I'm not ready, but let's do it.
You're going to be fine.
I knew it was coming, so I'm ready.
Okay. All right, let's go. First question. People say the fastest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And you know, we love soul food. Soul food is amazing. What do you think the top soul food dishes are to win someone over?
Ooh. Well, you got to go something sweet, like, you know, like sweet potato pie or like...
Look, yes.
Right? Am I right?
Yes, you are right.
I think that's the best. That's the best. But of course, you're really asking the wrong person because I do not cook at all.
What?
My husband does all of the cooking. Oh yeah. No, Postmates all day. All day.
Wow.
I do not do any cooking.
Listen.
I will burn toast. I am that worthless in the kitchen.
See, but look, you found a guy who could actually cook, and that's awesome too. My favorite is sweet potato pie. So when you said that out the gate, I was like, oh yeah, yes, that's my absolute favorite dish.
I have proven myself now. You know I know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Now what other dish? So now I'm going to follow up that with what's the next dish, or what other dish do you think would be great?
I don't know. See, this is how long it's been since I've cooked. I have no idea. I have no idea what you cook a man. You're totally asking the wrong person.
Well, we're going to stick with sweet potato pie. I'm going to give you a couple
We're going to stick with sweet potato pie. Yeah.
Greens.
But see, I was thinking greens, but I was like, greens is not, but that's not filling enough.
But it always wins. And if you know how to cook them.
Okay.
Collards and mustards. You got to know how to cook them. Cornbread.
You need all day.
Yes. It's an investment of time. Yes.
Come on, but you know people be getting that Jif.
You can't do the Jiffy. The Jiffy is cheating all day. Jiffy's cheating. Homemade, from scratch.
Okay. Oh. And don't say chitlins. That's literally what my mom made for Thanksgiving. Because I was like, if we're not going to be together on Thanksgiving, like let's just do whatever we want to do. So then, she was like making chitlins all day. I haven't had chitlins since
I can't do chitlins. I can't do chitlins. But I know some people. But
they are kind of good, right?
No, not at all. Oh no, no, not even close. Not no. Some people like them, but I just can't. I can't.
It's the idea. You're caught up on the idea of what you're eating.
And the smell. When you clean them.
Wow. The cleaning, forget it. That's the worst thing I've ever done in my life, I think.
I think that's like the opposite of love. Like, right? Like if you try to...
But if a woman goes through all of that, like all day, she's cleaning out those pig intestines for you,
that's commitment, but I don't know about love.
Commitment. Okay, all right. We'll go with greens and sweet potato pie.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
I'm with you.
Ding, you got it. You in there. Second question. Finish these lyrics to these 3 songs.
Okay.
All right, here's the first one. I'm gonna try to harmonize it a little bit for you so it'll make it a little easier.
Okay.
And giving yourself to me can never be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If the love
The
is
love
true.
is true.
Oh, baby.
Oh, well, I was with you.
Come on, I know. Keep going. Giving yourself to me.
Come on,
can
Marvin.
never
Come
be.
on.
Yes, Marvin Gaye.
Come on. Love is true.
Mm-hmm.
What comes up? Does it just let's get it on then? No.
That's it. You got it.
It's it?
You got it. Let's get it on.
I thought I was missing a verse.
Nope, you got it. Yep. Oh,
Okay.
baby. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And then it's like another little line in there, but the song is "Let's Get It On." You got it. Ding.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
All right. This is a newer one, a newer track. 'Cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections.
I really appreciate that you're doing
trying
so much extra for the melody and everything.
I'm trying to give
help
it
me
to
out.
you. I normally wouldn't do that. I normally would read it like, 'cause all of me loves all of you. Like I would normally read it like really regular. So I gave you some extra love on that one.
I'm not like good on music right now. I listen to old stuff. You had me at Marvin Gaye. Who is this? What is this?
So the song is All of Me by John Legend.
Oh. Maybe if I heard him singing it. That's no offense. No offense at all. But no, honestly, I don't even listen to music anymore. I have 2 little kids and I just have to listen to kid music.
The third song. This one, you got to get this one. This one is a
softball question, please.
Girl, you look good. Won't you back that ass up?
Oh, okay.
You a fine motherfucker. Won't you back that ass up? What song is that?
Back that ass up. And very appropriate.
Softball.
Very appropriate for today's topic.
Exactly. See, did you notice how all of them kind of fell into this theme? Like love, all of me, and then backing that ass up.
Perfect. I see the theme unfolding right now. We are in the flow.
Yes, I tried to set it up for you. All right.
Thank you.
Third question. So you killed the 2. Now you got to just absolutely destroy this third one. What do you love most about life while Black?
What I actually love is being able to sort of speak in code. And you know what I mean?
Yep.
And have Black talk and know that we understand each other and I don't have to explain things.
Yes. And it's universal.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll move into our next section, which is our dope quote. And I found this one because I think it's just such an interesting quote from an amazing Black woman. Love is like a virus. It can happen to anybody at any time. And that's Maya Angelou. Read it one more time.
Oh.
It's so fitting too. Love is like a virus. It can happen to anyone or anybody at any time. What do you think about that?
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I love Maya, obviously. I was thinking about another quote of hers that I always tell my clients, which is if someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, right? I'm always quoting that quote because people will second guess and go back and forth. But as far as this virus one, it's very appropriate for the times. I hadn't heard this before. But I guess it's this idea also that love is sort of contagious. And this is why I try to get my clients to practice slow love, getting to know people slowly over time. Because as you are exposed, I hate using COVID-19 language in this, but you're exposed to someone over time, that's when your feelings really develop and deepen and you really get to know someone. So in that way, it's not like COVID-19. You have to be exposed to it for a while. But yeah, it can happen to anybody at any time. And in fact, things have been weird in my coaching program. From the
Really?
beginning, I've had the same system, and it's like wash, rinse, repeat. And I'm happy to share my system with everybody in a little bit. But I would give my clients the same system, and it consistently works. Like 90% of my clients that went through my program last year, my one-on-one program, it's 3 months long. At the end of the 3 months, 90% of them ended up exclusively dating someone.
Wow.
And I'm like, it's not as hard as we make it. Like there is a system, and it's just that you haven't learned the system, or you haven't learned to listen to yourself. But things were really, really iffy, I would say, between October and November, and people were just acting crazy. And I was like, I finally just said to my clients, I don't know what's going on. Like I would tell them to do one thing, and then people would do another thing. And I was like, I guess it's COVID. I don't know. But just this week, I got 4 messages from clients that said they were dating someone exclusively. So I've seen that it can change. It can happen at any time. And just that quickly it shifted. I think, long story short, I think it was actually the election that made people a little bit weird. Not so much, the combination of the pandemic, but we've been in the pandemic. I think the election was making people act really erratic. But it can happen, and that's why I try and keep people positive and in that exact headspace where, like, don't give up on it. Just keep change your tactic, change your mindset, change something about what you're doing, and you can get a different result.
I mean, that's a good approach. Like, so tell us this. So we'll shift gears a little bit and kind of go into what you do and how you got started, and maybe tell us a little bit about like what triggered you entering this field, this area.
Great question. Well, aside from, I talked about meeting my husband online, but it was the way that I did it that really made it so that I could put a program and a process around it and a system that worked. And it started when I was a casting director. I used to be a casting director in television. I was working at CBS and doing casting during the day, and then teaching classes at night for actors and how to brand themselves and market themselves so that they would have headshots that would stand out to someone like me, how they would get noticed, how they get called in for auditions. And then I started to realize, as I was online dating at the same time, that the headshot is basically the same as the profile pic. And then when I started to apply those same techniques about personal branding and really like being mindful about the way that you were presenting yourself in alignment with what you were trying to attract, the more that I did that with my own online dating experience, then the more I was able to attract the right kind of guys, and ultimately the man who is still my husband today. So it was really, that was the beginning of helping people get. This is even before there was any talk of personal branding. Like this is like 15 years ago. So the idea of, I'm like, you are a product. You're a product that you're marketing on your dating site. It wasn't even a dating app back then. People were like, huh? I'm not a product. I'm a person. And I'm like, for the sake of argument. Yeah. So I help people really get clear on what they are looking for. Like, what is that relationship that you want? Like earlier, I was saying how I don't cook and my husband does all the cooking. It's not an accident that I ended up with my husband. It is by design. I literally drew out exactly the kind of lifestyle that I have right now. I literally drew it on paper. And I was like, I want a man who's going to be a 50-50 partner, who's going to cook, who's going to take care of kids. I didn't personally care how much money he made. I know that's a big deal for a lot of ladies, especially like women that are high earners. They don't want to be with somebody that's like, they feel is draining their potential. I personally didn't care, because to me, it was more important that I had somebody that was going to be an active partner in raising the family, because I knew I wasn't going to do it. I knew I couldn't cook. I was like, I might pop out a baby or two, but that's about as far as we're going to go. So I designed the life that I wanted, but what everybody wants and the way that they envision their life, for everybody, it's different.
Like now I know a lot of, dating apps, online dating sites, like that is huge, right? Why do you think so many people, have that reaction that you had when we initially started talking and were just doing the intro, right? Like, oh, dating sites, as if they don't work, or maybe people don't know what they're doing. But why do you think people have that reaction to them now? But there's so many people on dating sites.
People, no, they don't know what they're doing. People will tell me, "Oh, I've been online dating, or I've been on dating apps, and it didn't work." And I'd say, "Well, how long were you on the dating app?" "Well, like 2 weeks, and then I didn't like it or slowed down, and I got overwhelmed or frustrated, or I met somebody who ghosted and I signed off." Usually they are not like that 3-month time frame that I mentioned earlier. It's so crucial. That's how much time you need to change your behavior. You need like at least 45 days. And then the options start to come in. Your behaviors change, your profile is different, the way you show up on dates is different. Then you start to get a different result. And then usually in the 3rd month, that's when you start to narrow down your options to somebody that you'd like to see more exclusively. Now, I'm speaking very like monogamy based. And I know there are some people that prefer, trust me.
Yes.
I wrote an article for BET on polyamory in the Black community. So I know that this is a thing and there's no judgment from me on it and
we
whatever you're looking for.
On polyamory.
We sure did.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
that is a thing.
I know it is a thing. It's just not what most people come to me for.
Right.
So I will speak from the perspective of what most of my clients are looking for. But that reaction to the dating app is usually that people are not using the tool effectively. So you can try to use a saw to hammer in a nail, but you're going to be pretty frustrated with it. But if I can show you how to use a hammer, then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that was a lot harder the other way. So it's just the dating app is the tool. People like to blame the tool. And the app is just the thing connecting you. That's it. Everything else that happens is your own choices, your own behaviors. And I can teach you how to use the tool more effectively. But then if you haven't done the deeper work to understand the patterns or understand how you're showing up on the date, that's when you're going to start looping in some of these dating detours.
Got you. So what's the most, common misconceptions is, it doesn't work or it's not working for me. What's the secret? Like, what's the secret to making it amazing for someone?
Well, I got to speak to the ladies for a second because women, well, I'll speak to the guys in a second, but the women tend to get frustrated with the app because they think it's the same as the real world. They think it's like, the guy is supposed to do he's supposed to do all the work. He's supposed to approach me and then I do the picking. I say yes or no, and then it will all unfold for me. Oh, and he's supposed to like also plan all the dates and think of everything. And then I can just relax and he can take over. Now I'm speaking very generally, but this is what people write into me about on Dates and Mates. And that is not the right strategy for a dating app because the dating app is a piece of technology. So you have to consider the algorithm of the app that you might not be even visible to your ideal guy, or you might be buried down in the match queue. And it's not like he's trying to diss you or whatever. It's like you are just not visible. And you are also just a name on a screen. It's not a real connection yet. You have to constantly be driving to the next phase. So what I've said from the beginning of coaching is women need to be proactive, send outgoing messages. They need to be doing the choosing instead of waiting to get chose. What? And people don't like to hear it.
I was just going to say, is that a hard message to deliver?
Yes. That's like a woman buying a man a drink.
Because I know it works.
I'm with it.
But people don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it because they're caught up in this fantasy, this idea of what we saw in fairy tales and what we've seen in movies. And they think it's supposed to just magically unfold. And then I ask, well, think about anything else that you have achieved in your life, anything else that you have, like your career success. How hard did you work for that? How much effort did you put in to make sure that you had that worked out for you?
That's a good point.
And then when you think about it also, like who you choose to be in a relationship with and then maybe even marry or blend your family with, that is the most important decision you will ever make in your life that affects your finances, your mental health, your,
you need to be an active participant in that.
Right? Why would that be the thing that you leave up to chance? That makes no sense to me. So that usually gets people to be like, okay, I'll try it your way, Damona. But then for the guys, I think the frustration comes from this feeling that like, oh, I send so many messages out and I get so few responses, or I swipe right on so many people. So then a lot of times guys...
Right. That's the good direction,
That's
right?
the good way.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I've had
I'm way out of
clients...
Right. You ain't even seen
that.
that.
Up to speed. Swipe right is the good way. And a lot of guys have the strategy, like they'll come to me and say, well, I don't ever, I get so few messages back, or like once you match, I'll just get a little primer on dating apps.
Yeah, hook us up.
For most of the swipe apps, once you swipe right, if they also swipe right, then you get matched and then you get put into a chat. So they have to also, it has to be a mutual match. Right. So a lot of guys have this strategy, well, I'll just pretty much swipe right on everybody. Damn. And then I'll go into their profile.
Guys. Damn.
No, it's not that they're not choosy. It's a strategy thing. I'll go into their profile once we match.
Real as hell around this man.
Oh, they do that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could get real nerdy about this, but
let's get nerdy.
The action of swiping right is easier than the action of swiping left. That is by design.
True.
Think about just do it right now with your thumb.
Yeah,
we both were doing it. Yeah.
Yep.
See? So it's just much easier to swipe right on everybody. And then they'll go into the profile and be like, okay, well, how does she look? Or like, what does she have to say? And then they might not actually message or engage once they've seen the profile, or they might even unmatch. This is what happens.
Wow.
That's cold.
That's
I
cold,
try to encourage guys to be a little more discerning and mindful in the match process so that you're not burning yourself out, because then you'll just end up with a bunch of matches that you don't, it's going to cloud your mind.
You're going to be able to be able to focus. Suicidal. Don't nobody want me.
Right, I didn't swipe right on
my mama said the only person that's going to really want me is dead.
Well, that's another thing too. Like, it's the self-esteem element. Like, a lot of people don't like dating apps because they're like, oh, I don't like getting rejected all that time. But my feeling is, how could you be rejected? That person hasn't even met you. Yeah. That's not a rejection.
Right.
You have no idea why. It's just not a match. They may already be in a relationship, because sometimes they keep profiles up for a long time. You have to really physically go in and delete.
What is that?
No, I did have a client that this guy was she was like dating him for 6 months, and then she said, I really want him to be exclusive. I said, you should tell him you're taking down your profile and whatever. And he was like, oh, I can't. I already paid for Match through the end of the year. And I was like, oh, but that's a boy bye.
It kind of makes sense to me. Because I've got a couple of friends who are on them, and I was talking to one just yesterday, and she said, I said, are you all exclusive? And the way she answered it was, we both decided to take down our profiles. And I just took it as maybe that's the new exclusive, but I got it now. It makes sense.
It is.
They're off the market, so to speak.
That is actually the new exclusivity talk. But then we do have to talk about, a lot of times people do. They'll have multiple like alter ego profiles. But then we have to talk about the rise of the situationship too. Because there's a lot of that.
So
I can tell I'm talking
break
about
that down, right? Because I know what I think.
You haven't heard.
That sounds like some homie lover friends.
We some newbies to this game.
Right.
Like, we don't know what's going on.
Well, the situationship
I bet the wife
is
listened
basically...
to this episode.
You better not.
Really know. Type of shit. He always on that goddamn phone anyway.
Right.
Oh, well, that's a whole other conversation. But, we'll just start with situationships. There's a lot of people in these casual connections that like they're too afraid to define the relationship. The kids call it DTR. They're too afraid to define it because if you're in limbo,
define the relationship. Damn, I'm slow. Sorry.
Yeah, DTR,
bro.
Not to be confused with DTF.
Okay, see, that one I know. That one I know.
That was faster.
Right, but you might be in a DTF situation when you're looking at DTR, and if you don't have this conversation, which a lot of people are afraid to do, you end up in this limbo of like, now I have all of these people that I'm talking to online. And this is the biggest change that has really happened since dating apps and online dating really became popularized, is the speed of dating. Like this was the same process. It's just now faster. So you're dating multiple people at the same time because you have more opportunity and it's happening faster. And people say, oh, well, that's now why like nobody will commit. Dating apps are making everybody want to just play the field. No one will commit. No, that's not true. You won't ask for commitment. And so you're not getting commitment. And you think that means that the paradox of choice, there's so many options, nobody wants to commit. If that's the case, then why are 40% of marriages starting on dating apps now more than any other avenue?
Wow.
More than meeting at church, more than meeting at friends, more than meeting at work. Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yes.
So, but you made a point though that I think is super critical.
Okay.
Actually, like asking for the commitment. Like, how does that work? I mean,
we're taking our profiles down. You nailed it before.
Oh.
But it's being courageous enough to take a risk, and because you have to risk in love. And really, the biggest change, aside from dating apps, the biggest impact that tech has had on dating is the rise of texting. Texting is now texting or like messaging within the app. Texting is the primary mode of communication now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a problem. That's a really big problem because so much gets lost in translation.
Yeah.
You can also kind of keep these casual relationships going. Because think about back in the day, back in your single life, when you had to actually like pick up the phone and call a girl or like ask her when she was going to be home. And
when can I pick you up? Yeah.
Maybe leave a message with her mama and then like she's got to check you out, make sure you all right. And that took major courage. It takes no courage to send a text. And then people will like divulge all this information over text that they would never say if they were face to face with somebody. They just, feel like, well, I'm behind the screen, so it's okay to share this. And that's okay. You can share whatever you want, but it develops a false sense of intimacy. So then people are thinking, oh, I'm in an exclusive relationship because I told this person all this stuff about me. But they haven't really developed a relationship. Or somebody will tell me, well, what about all those catfish scenarios? What about like all those people that take advantage and steal money from people that they met online? And usually in those situations, they've never actually met. And they show catfish. They are catfish because they haven't met them. They haven't even done video chats. That's why they were able to
seen them.
Fake who they were. That's not a real relationship. So we need to be driving towards relationships if that's what we want.
You got to
because you can sure waste a lot of time. Yes, you have to at least like FaceTime.
Physical.
At least FaceTime, see their face. But we can waste a lot of time in these fake relationships that really are just texts or messages that have a lot of hope and potential, but may not stand up in the real world.
Wow.
Did I just break a bunch of hearts? People are mad at me now.
I think
I'm okay.
We married though.
Right. Oh.
Of course, you're okay.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good over here.
This is exploratory for us.
Right. Damona, I want to ask a different kind of question about, and one, listeners, I apologize. I came in late, so I don't think this has been touched, but just in case it hasn't, you talked about the fact that on these dating apps, it's a quick swipe to the right, to the right, right? So what that says is that I saw you physically, right? I saw your facial features or whatnot. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you do. I don't know much about you. I know that I looked at a picture
And I liked it.
and I liked what I see. Exactly. So what kind of impact is that having on dating, right? Because I do get in person, it's still typically like a physical attraction that starts the conversation, but at least in person, you hear a voice, you might get to ask an immediate question. What's the impact of the physicality in dating apps on dating and love today?
I don't know that it is that different. It is always been about the physical.
Yep.
The thing that I try to get my clients to recognize is that people make these decisions in the blink of an eye. Like men decide if they're swiping left or right within 5 seconds, women within 7. And
Damn.
Women smarter
that's
than men.
not a lot of time. That's like going through your whole profile. 7 seconds to read all those things that you so carefully wrote about yourself. 7 seconds. So when you keep that in mind, I recommend really looking at it from the perspective of the person who's going to view your profile.
Right.
And the thin slicing that they're going to do to look at that picture and immediately have to assess, what is this person like? Do I get a sense of their personality? What are they into? Would they fit into my life? Would I enjoy hanging out with them? That's all being done in 7 seconds. So that's why I talk about the 3 C's in your dating profile: color, context, character. Color, it's purely psychological. You're swiping through a sea of photos. All the girls are wearing the little black dresses because they think it's slimming. You know, I used to do that too. But it all blends in together. So I have my clients put on a red dress. Red is a color that our minds are conditioned to stop and look. And studies have shown that actually men are more attracted to the color red. I think it's a biological thing, like we see in the animal kingdom.
Lips.
When red, like apes, like parts of the body will turn red when animals are aroused. So that is really, I know.
I had to shake that one off.
So when we think of it, like, we're just animals. But it's psychological conditioning, right? So when we choose color, so men are more attracted to color red than any other color. There's actually a study where they showed guys a bunch of pictures of different women all in a row and had them rate them based on their attractiveness.
Right.
And they actually rated the women who had a red border around their photos as more attractive than any other color. But here's the kicker. They didn't realize they were looking at the same photos. So a lot of them would be the same picture, but then they changed the color border and they rated those women more attractive.
Wow.
So,
we need to
but
spend
color
longer than
works.
5 seconds. We got to do better.
Right.
Wow.
Color works as well, though, on women too, just in terms of like standing out and getting them to stop and pay attention. Because women be swiping pretty fast too. And then context is telling your life story through your photos. We don't have time to read. That's just let's just accept that. Let's not get mad about it. That's just the reality. And character. This is the one most people miss. This is your personality. Like, don't just have a bunch of smiling. Like, here I am at the hike. Here I am with my family. Here, like, really show if you're quirky, you're nerdy, you have a sense of humor about yourself. Like, show off what you really are like. And once you have at least those 3 pictures, the color, context, and character covered, you want to have about 4 to 5 pictures. And that's it. People try to say too much in their profile and they think it's like they're like Instagram and put their entire like photo gallery. And then what happens? Like you were saying earlier, Vince, like people look at the pictures and they make a decision just based on the picture. Well, the way most people swipe is they're like, oh, okay, she's kind of cute. And then, oh, I like this one too. Oh, she's into some of the same things I'm into. Oh, wait a minute, she doesn't look so good in this photo. Oh, here's her in a group shot with her girlfriend. Oh, her girlfriend's kind of cute. Actually, now I'm paying attention to her girlfriend. You know what? Actually, she wasn't that cute anymore. Swipe left. That's how people swipe. So don't give them all of that information. It's you're like curating your life story visually.
Wow. There's a lot of psychology to this.
There is.
Completely.
It made me want to ask a question. You were talking about, and again, this is just inexperience. You were talking about the profile, but you were specifically speaking to the pictures, right? Is there still words or like a bio, anything, Todd? It's like
We don't read no more.
right. So is it like I'm ignorant. Just what are we looking at? What is it?
There are words.
Okay,
People still have words.
Because like when you
Still
said
exist.
profile, I was expecting it to mean like, hi,
A
I'm
bio.
Darius, right? You know what? I like, soft music, long walks on the beach. That's what I was waiting for. But you kept talking about the pictures. So like, when do the words? When does that come into play?
Nobody look at this shit
Well,
in
right.
5 seconds.
Yeah, a picture speaks 1,000 words.
Right.
So
Mhm.
we have limited character space on our profiles. So you can say more through your photos than you can say in your written part of your profile. It depends on the app that you're on. Each app has a different word count and a different framework format to
Right.
them. So, yes, on like a Match, like a legacy site like Match or OkCupid, I call those the legacy sites. Like
Right.
you've heard of like the dating, they're apps now, but they're legacy sites.
Yeah, they've been around.
They
for a
have the
minute.
bio,
right.
but the tolerance for bio length as everyone moved to mobile. Like I remember being in a conference, an online dating conference that I used to go to like every single year. And I remember, I want to say it was like 8 years ago, they were like, traffic is moving mobile. And, like a lot of like the old guard was like, we're just going to keep doing it this way.
The dinosaurs.
I'm sure
Mhm.
like, any tech like company that
Yeah.
thought, I'll just do it the old way. Like I remember when I kept my company when I was working in casting, they were like, you can upgrade to, I don't even think it was digital at that time. Maybe, yeah. They were like, you can upgrade to digital video cameras. And I was like, no, these hi8s work just fine for us. And they're cheaper. And then I was like,
Uh-oh.
what is it? What have I done?
Mhm.
So you always want to think ahead in technology. So the people like Tinder who thought mobile first,
Mhm.
that's why Tinder is the number one dating app still, because there's so much more you can do with like location-based. I'm getting real technical now, but like location-based
to
is
it.
like
Yeah, we love it.
people who are
Geo-targeted
like it
dating
matches
out here.
geo-targeting, right? So, and then there are even apps that like go only based on geo-targeting. Like this is who you've crossed paths with. So then the apps became more specialized.
Right.
But as you know, looking at a screen, you don't have a lot of space on that screen. So people don't want to scroll through your profile. So the bio really must fit in like one paragraph on that screen now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I have I have a profile starter kit that's free on my website that helps people write about themselves, because it's getting started that a lot of people get caught up in. You have to have something there. Like whenever I'm swiping for clients, like for my VIP clients, I'll do the swiping for them. And I'll look at somebody's profile. And if I see that they have not thought at all about their bio, they put nothing into it,
Right.
I'm like, this might be a fake profile, or they just didn't care. Like that's those people that said, "Oh, I'm online. I started it. I have a dating app," and then they started it and made a profile in 2 minutes and then never really touched it and expected it to just magically bring them the dates. You have to really work the technology and the tools. But then a lot of the apps now have incorporated like prompts. Oh, I was telling you about the profile starter kit. So I did that. Like I did plug and play versions of profiles that I've written before that have worked for people, where you can just like Mad Libs, put your own words in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or conversation starters, because people just would get paralyzed with fear of what to say. I don't know how to write about myself. So I created that. But it's like meant to be a pick and choose. Like you can't say everything. It's like I was saying earlier, you're curating your life story.
Yeah.
But then on apps like Hinge, and then actually Match bought Hinge, and basically Match owns like every dating app now. They own OkCupid, Plenty of Fish, Hinge, Match, of course, Black People Meet. And
Black People Meet still?
It's still a thing. Still a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Former sponsor of
Black
my podcast,
people meet at the
actually.
club.
Black people
It's
meet
going down.
on the app.
Right.
There's actually a really big gap in the Black dating app market now. Like Soul Swipe, I don't know what happened to Soul Swipe. It just, you probably never even heard of it.
Never.
It came
I heard
and
of
went
Soul
before you
Cycle.
even.
So that's about the closest I'm with
Nothing like that. But there's a really big gap in the dating app market for Black users. Like,
what does that mean for our
Anyways.
listeners? When you say a big gap, is it just less
isn't
options
an
that are
app.
focused? Oh, wow.
Mhm.
There isn't really a good app like that I recommend. Match came out with one that was sort of targeted for younger audience called BLK. But like none of them are doing that well. And probably your listeners that are on them are probably experiencing like the difference between an app being, the way I help people choose an app is to find one that has a pool of people that they'd actually want to date and that has functionality that they'd actually want to use. Those are really the only two factors. So people always ask me like, what's the best app? The best app is the app that brings you the dates you want to go out with.
How do you
That's
check
it.
the pool? I mean, does that mean
You go
signing
online.
up and just looking?
Yeah, you sign up and it's free to sign up for most of these apps.
Mm-hmm.
And even like Match is free to create a profile.
Mhm.
It's free to sign up, but you pay to communicate, like if you actually want to send messages. But most of them are free. You can pay for premiums, but you just have to go and try it and swipe. But, with a lot of the category of niche apps, so that would be like a Black People Meet, a BLK, a Soul Swipe, RIP Soul Swipe.
ChristianMingle.com.
Christian Mingle.
Sorry.
Thank you. They all are under the category of niche, where that is your primary filter. Like, I'm looking to meet someone Black, and then that filtering is already done for you. So what I help people do on the legacy apps, for example, is I help you sort through all of the thousands of matches you're going to get. But if you go to a niche app, you're going to have fewer matches, but theoretically, they're going to be better suited for you because they'll already match your key criteria.
Right.
But I'm sure the people who are using the Black-focused dating apps now are experiencing that there's a small pool there. So you're not getting as many matches,
Right.
Yeah.
because there's just there aren't
people.
as many options.
So if you are looking for a Black man or a Black woman specifically, is there enough option on the legacy or the larger apps?
I think you should never use just one app anyway. You should always have a primary and a secondary. It's like being in two bars at the same time, right?
Wow.
So it doubles your chances. And then you're not missing anybody, because that's the thing. Like, people app hop all of the time. So you might miss somebody because they were on Black People Meet, but then they went over to Christian Mingle, but then they went to OkCupid, and then you missed them. So
you should
are
have got
they
the number
enough
before she left,
options?
sir. You should have got up. You should have went and talked to her.
Right. And it really varies based on markets. Like, I work with people all over the country, really all over the world. And what app is popular here, like in Los Angeles where I live, is totally different than what's popular in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. And this is, I guess, a good plug for a female entrepreneur who she's developing a brand new dating app for everyone. It's called Maybe Drinks. So if you were to check out maybedrinks.com, that's a new dating app, and it's actually pretty cool. And she's a super cool new
Looking it up right
entrepreneur.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
There's
let
a
me
lot
find
of,
out you got a page on there, brother. I'm telling. I swear to God, I'm telling.
I
I'm
do
telling.
not. I do not.
I know your wife.
I can't. I cannot. We should set up one just to see the type of hits we hit.
My brother, you are on your own.
I'm joking. I mean, it would be interesting though.
So at my funeral, sir.
But look, you let the wifeys
This
control
is
her.
for my homemade.
You let the
See
wifeys
you when I get there. You ain't getting me killed, sir.
Well, you sound good, brother. You sound good. You just sang on the
You
mic
ain't getting me
today.
killed. I'm trying to save my life, sir. I'm singing for life right now.
Let the wifey control it. And see what.
That is one line. Like my husband, even I don't have profiles. At one point, I was like, oh, maybe I could do this to help like matchmake for clients, but I don't do any matchmaking anymore. I'd rather teach people how to matchmake for themselves.
Yeah.
But no, we have a hard line on that. But I can tell you where the swingers are if you want to know. I don't know what they said on your poly episode.
Tell us. I am sure there's a listener right now
that's like, let's go.
They glad we still talking because they trying to find a pen right now. Wait, so where are they at?
They typing.
ChristianSwinging.com?
Well, there's a lot of people.
Oh, sorry.
No, actually on OkCupid. A lot of people who are non-monogamous use OkCupid because they were kind of the first one to add alternative options even. Like and they have so many choices even for, your gender identity, your sexual preference, your relationship status preference. Like you can't search for you can't search for your triad on Christian Mingle. Oh, no.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you have to go to where the pool
dynamic.
is.
Wow.
So, silly question, but serious question. Is there an app that caters to or filters for married people, but still looking for that enjoyment? That's the side chick, the side sir, however that goes. Is there an app that meets that need?
Ashley Madison is the...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It's the gold standard in that. Oh, no, it's still a thing. You don't have to remember it. It's still a thing.
It's still going?
Man, they had that security breach, though.
They
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
they
I do.
did.
Yeah.
I thought they'd have been shut down behind that. Okay.
No. Actually, no. They were more popular than ever. They actually saw a surge.
That was a marketing campaign. Oh, shit, this is what I'm looking for.
It wasn't.
I guess that's excitement.
But people, I think, people like heard about it. They're like, oh, wait a minute. I could go online and like find another girl. But, a lot of the people on Ashley Madison never meet up. They're actually just looking for, and there's a huge imbalance, as you can probably imagine.
Yeah.
There's far more men there than women.
Yeah.
And there's more men on any all dating apps than women. But a lot of it, I think, is just companionship. People just want to talk to somebody. Because a lot of people don't actually move offline from Ashley Madison.
So I'm going to come up with an app, We'll Never Meet. Just get that going right quick. But, all seriously,
I mean, there's a lot of people, not like people who are dating extramaritally, but there are a lot of time wasters on dating apps. So that's the other big frustration I hear from a lot of people. They're like, oh, I've been talking to this guy. Actually, just one of my clients she messaged me last night and she was like, this guy, we've been going back and forth and he was supposed to call this day. And then he was like, oh, I got busy. And then asked me like, he just sent this, it just makes me so frustrated with the text. Like after he was supposed to circle back after Thanksgiving and then didn't, like he's trying to come through like a week later. Obviously I'm getting very heated. Like a week later with just like a, hey, what's up text. And I was like, excuse me?
Right, what's happening?
Right.
Excuse me?
I'm free now.
You need to come and state your business. That's what I always say. State your business. Like,
damn, that just feels
not
hard.
literally in the text. Not literally in the text. But, I tell my clients, like, if you're going to text somebody, state your business. Because there's a lot of people who will waste plenty of your time. And that's why, just going back to the dating app is the tool. People villainize dating apps because they say, well, I haven't found love. And it's because online dating sucks. And that's what everybody's using right now. What if you flip that around? Because there's so much opportunity with dating apps. It's all in like how you're using the dating app and you just use the tool to make the connection. Then you've got to move offline. You've got to get into the real world. And even in a pandemic, like I just had a couple actually from Atlanta who met on Bumble on my podcast. They didn't meet on my podcast. They met on Bumble and came on my podcast to tell me about it. They met in March in the height of the pandemic when we didn't even know what was going on. And they just did FaceTime dates and talking on the phone. And actually, I don't know if they talked on the phone, but I like the phone call. I missed the phone call. I wish I'm on a mission to bring it back.
So is that not the norm? Like,
no.
Again, I don't know a lot about it, but the friends that I do have, they do what you just said, right? They meet on the app. There might be 2 or 3 days, maybe a week where they correspond on the app. And it's always a big deal when they decide, like, we're going to exchange phone numbers. And one even has like a Google number that they give out that you can call the Google number, not get the real number. And you're talking there for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And then you graduate to like the real number and then an in-person kind of thing. I thought that was, because that's my own experience, I thought that was the norm, but it's not.
I actually work with an app called Text Now that does the same thing. They mask your phone number so that then you don't have to worry about giving out your number. And then I don't want to scare anybody, but also sometimes you can do a reverse number search and find out personal information about you. Yeah. So if you have a number that's not associated with your name, it's much safer. I just prefer to like set up guidelines so that you don't have to be worried about things.
Right.
Like
if you're going to invest in the dating, at least invest in the safety that should come with it.
Right, exactly.
I'm with you.
And most of these services are free, actually.
At all.
So anyhow, yes, I missed the phone call because that used to be the first step. So I tell people no more than 3 exchanges on the app before you move to the next step. So an exchange could just be 3 messages, or it could be 3 like text bursts where, you'll kind of go back and forth and then you pick up the next day. But you can't let that drag on for a week. And speaking of which, you have to be either meeting up or making plans to meet up within the first week of meeting. That's a new rule that I've instated because there's just so many time wasters. So today, depending on where you are and what the pandemic situation and lockdown situation is where you are, you might only be able to have that next step be moving to a FaceTime. You might not be able to do an in-person date, and that's okay. That's now an official phase in the dating process. But I like to add a phone call in there where you don't have to like get, pick up your dirty drawers off the floor or like put your makeup on, where you could just talk and hear their voice and see if you can get a little bit more information and see if there's a vibe.
Something you said earlier that I wanted to ask a question about. You were talking about the fact that Ashley Madison was male heavy. And then you mentioned that most dating sites are too. And my question there is like, why is that the case? Especially when you think about so many major cities where the number of single women outnumber the number of single men. And you, especially here in Atlanta, you hear people talking about all the time how many women there are per man here. Why don't you see that same kind of percentage on the apps? What's the disconnect?
Well, it does vary from city to city. Like New York has a real imbalance of men to women, and San Francisco is really imbalanced the other way.
Right.
So I think it's again biology. Like men are out there hunting.
Yeah. Okay.
Women,
that makes sense.
Well, and I'll also back this up with just like our lifestyle. Women have large support systems. We have girlfriends that we hang out with. Like I even see this now in the pandemic with like my husband, like he's just here all the time. And I'm like, why don't you make a plan and like go see, like, do you want to watch the game with somebody or something? And he's like, nah, I'm good. Like,
right.
Kofi, can you get the hell out for a minute?
Right.
I have drinks in Sarah's backyard and I'm going over here and I'm going hiking with this person and I bought tickets to this drive-in, I've been staying busy, but that's women by nature, like I'm speaking very like heteronormative, gender, normative, but this is what we see is that women tend to congregate and we get our needs met by our job, by our social circle. We get that affection and support from other areas of your life. So a lot of times, this is why I think we see a lot of women staying single longer, or like men will jump back into a relationship after divorce right away. Whereas women are like, I'm fine. I can stay single. I've had women come to me after being divorced for like 15 years that are like, I didn't date for 15 years, or I went on like 2 dates in 15 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? Like I coached
Right.
on my show Garcelle Beauvais, who is on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And she's a former model. She is gorgeous. She's been divorced for 8 years. And she told me she's dated 2 guys in 8 years. And she is smoking hot and wonderful and kind. And I was just like, what? Because we can do that. Like we can say, well, I don't need a man and I'm going to focus on these other things, where like men are not getting that same affection from their boys. They like go to a movie and sit 3 seats apart because God forbid our knees might brush one another.
And it's dark. Who does that?
So there's that drive. Like that drive is just stronger in men. And especially like as we get older and hormones change, like women are like, I'm fine. I don't need this. I don't need this drama.
Wow.
You know, I think there's one thing that we have to talk about. Hopefully you've seen it. I don't remember. I'm actually trying to find it now. I don't remember his name. Art, if you know, weigh in. But there's this clip that's going around. And it's a woman talking to some
this relationship coach.
Right, some relationship guy or whatever.
Yeah.
You're gonna die alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right?
that's
exactly.
I was wondering when somebody was gonna ask me about that.
We have to, because it's everywhere, right? And I'm seeing so many people on both sides of this argument, and
I thought it was insane when I saw that.
So did I.
I was like, wait a minute.
Maybe it's because we have daughters. Like maybe that's a function of. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, Damona, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, I hated it, obviously. My perspective is always to lift people up.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to date and feel your best self and feel your most attractive and confident if someone is cutting you down?
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, I was like, it was just not necessary. Like asking her to like rate her face and her body.
Yeah.
And ask her what her dress size. To me, that was really disgusting.
Yeah.
However, the core of what he was saying had some truth in it that she needed to hear. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure she's not going to be able to hear it because of the way he delivered it to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was that you need to focus on what you can bring into the relationship. And like looks aside. And by the way, I thought she was beautiful. I don't know what he was talking about. Like you're a 5 at best or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
like
it was heavy. I was like, whoa.
Well, even worse was he pushed her into a corner so hard that she called herself a 5.
Correct. And
I think that was the part that hurt me the most.
Yeah.
And then she did not combat that
right.
at all. And she agreed. I was like, whoa, a 5.
Right. Okay, so the core of what he was saying that was accurate was if you were dating the right kind of men or in the right pool, you would be dating somebody already. So that's what I try to do, is flip it around. Like if what you've been doing is working, then why are you here right now?
Yeah.
So we need to examine that. And I don't know that it's about like she's not pretty enough or, you know, high value enough to attract a high earning man or a high value man. I would flip it around and say, why do you feel like you need somebody that makes a lot of money or, you know, has certain looks or is a certain way?
Right.
Why does that hold value for you? What does that tell you about your value if you're associated with somebody like that?
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I feel most attracted when I feel valued, cherished, appreciated, attractive. Mm-hmm. And when I feel that someone really cares about me. And my husband does this for me every day. When I feel like he listens to me and he wants the best for me. I wouldn't waste a second with somebody who was, quote, high value or high earning that treated me like crap. That has no value.
Right.
And so that's what I would be more interested in doing for her, is to examine why she puts emphasis on that and what that means in her life, and see if she can reframe what she's going after so that it's really what she needs in her life. Like I said earlier, I designed the life that I wanted. And I know this is not the life that everybody else would want. And I know there are men that are like, If you can't cook dinner, there's the door. And that's fine. That's not a match for me. And that goes back to like the rejection piece, where sending a message is not rejection. Somebody not matching with you online is not rejection. They don't know you yet.
Yeah,
that's not a match.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different thing.
Gotcha.
What do you think? What do you think everyone out there in the dating pool, on apps or not, what is it that they need to hear? I mean, you talk to a lot of people. You've seen a lot of things. What do they need to hear or know?
That it's not as hard as you're making it. If you're single and you're frustrated with dating, that there is actually a system and it's not rocket science. I've done this so many times for so many people. There's a right way to use a dating app and there's a wrong way. There's a right mindset to date from and there's a wrong mindset to date from. There's a right process to progress a relationship forward and there's a wrong process. And you can be getting stuck in any of these possible pitfalls and detours along the way. And as soon as you learn the system and you learn, oh, that's where I've been getting stuck. What I do is I just patch that up and then your love life flows. And then you're like, oh, I didn't know it could be this easy. And that also, like, if you're looking for a monogamous relationship, it only takes one. So people get all caught up in like, how many messages am I getting? How many dates am I going on? It's like, doesn't matter. Did you meet the one that you want to commit to? Because once that happens, all the other stuff falls away. And I say this from personal experience, having been caught up in all of that myself and realizing that ultimately it doesn't matter right now because I got the one that I needed.
Right.
You're not looking for, well, there is somebody looking for 15, but most of us are looking for one.
And that's fine. Like if you're looking for 15, that's fine. Just be honest. Be honest about what you're looking for. So many times we won't say that because we're ashamed that we're looking for 15 or we're ashamed that we're looking for one. Yeah. Don't be afraid to say, I'm looking for commitment because we think, oh, well, then he'll run away. What if he doesn't like me? Well, if he runs away, that means he wasn't looking for commitment and then he wasn't the right one. So that's not a rejection. Yeah. That's a mismatch.
You're not on the right site. There's always ChristianSwingers.com. Give it a try. Might be the one.
Oh my gosh.
Christian Swingers.
You better snatch that URL right now.
Yeah, we might have just came on to something.
I'll let you take that one.
What would the logo be?
You can have some fun with that, boy. You can have some fun with choir robes, all that.
Right. The cross.
Wow.
We are horrible. We're horrible. ChristianSwingers.com.
Look, Damona, this has been absolutely amazing. I have enjoyed myself. Honestly, learned a ton. I had no idea about what was
you
going on.
You better never use this advice.
So check this out. There is a ChristianSwingers.com.
Stop it.
Literally.
Stop it.
No bullshit.
He looked it up.
I am shocked. And there's pictures.
No. I'm going to look it up.
Please don't.
Wow. You know what? No, let me tell you why you should not look this up. And this is good for anyone. If anyone is in a relationship is still listening. Your IP address is tied to your searches, right? Mm-hmm. So now that everybody's at home and doing all their stuff at home, what you search on your computer could come up in the ads for your wife. So do not search it.
Look at Art's face.
That's crazy. Well, I get to tell my wife that, hey.
Plus, it's recorded.
Yeah.
You say.
We good.
She ain't even got to know you had it bookmarked. You say, oh, sorry.
Yeah, she's going to get...
I'm kidding.
She's going to get a Christian... Well, then she's going to get the Christian Swingers. Christian Swingers ad.
I don't know.
I can't help you after that. I don't know.
Cool. At the end of the episode, we always like to give our guests just the opportunity to tell the listeners whatever it is that you want to tell them. We do ask that you share your sites, your social media, so they can go check you, follow you, get with you, learn from you. And it's all on you. Tell them what you want to tell them.
Yeah.
Get with me, but not in that way.
Right. This is not Christian swingers.
Right,
This
at
is
all.
not Christian swingers. But I am, in case you can't tell, I am so passionate about helping people find love.
are.
And I just really believe that it's possible for every person. I think everybody listening right now is lovable, and there's somebody out there who will make you feel the way that I said that I wanted to feel in my relationship too. So we talk about this every single week on the Dates and Mates podcast. I've been doing it every week, pretty much every week for 8 years. So I must love it because I've been doing it this long. So yeah, check out Dates and Mates. Or datesandmates.com if you want to get that profile starter kit I was talking about as well. I also have a relationship boot camp, which is kind of fun for those who are in a relationship. And I'm also on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook at Damona Hoffman.
Awesome. Spell it out for him one time.
DAMONAHOFFMAN.
No excuses, people. No excuses. Art, brother, you got anything?
Hey, amazing content. I love your passion. And I think this will help a lot of people who have been frustrated with dating apps. These little nuggets of the game that you've shared today are extremely valuable. So hopefully folks who got interest in it take advantage.
100%. The only thing I'm going to say is now that Christian swinging is gone, I'm going after willnevermeet.com. That's it. While Black. Peace. We love you. We out.
We out.